Well, the Manchester United captain has been a shining light for the club in recent weeks amid a period of chaos on the pitch. Last night he showed once again why he'll be a key figure for United as they move into this new era. New technical director Jose Mourinho, we saw him in the stands. He'll be impressed by what he saw, and Fernandes stole the show yesterday. 2 goals, that a late assist as well for Rasmus Højlund, and 9 chances created. Shows just how much of a threat he was throughout the match. He's come back into form at the back end of the season, scoring 7 goals in United's past 5 games. Will score the penalty at Coventry at the weekend as well in the FA Cup. And United fans will hope he can carry this momentum into the final few matches of the season and the upcoming FA Cup final at Wembley.
Yeah, just how important is he to United given their struggles? I mean, you wonder where they'd be without him, Joe.
Yeah, you do. I mean, we saw Mauricio Pochettino saying Chelsea were kind of needed to prove they weren't Cole Palmer FC before they played Arsenal. I think Manchester United have kind of been Bruno Fernandes FC over the last few weeks. It's been 6 goals and 1 assist in his last 4 Premier League games. In their last 3 Premier League games, his goals and assists have been worth 5 points. So without that, they would be down in 8th and in much worse position to make the Europa League, which actually look well set to make now. I was actually surprised looking at his stats going through the season. He'd only scored 3 goals in his previous 26 Premier League games before this recent run of form. It kind of passed me by, really, that drop-off in form. But like James said, he's really stepped up when United have needed it as they push for that Europa League spot.
Yeah, and looking at that, he has been criticised, more so during that period that Joe mentioned, but still so, even now, despite the numbers that he produces. Is that a little unfair?
Yeah, I think it potentially is. I mean, he's been directly involved in 33% of their league goals this season. Over the last 4 years, and there's 4 full seasons at the club, that number's never dipped below 27%. It's been as high as 41%. So he has consistently performed for a United side that has underperformed over a number of years. You know, he has given his best years to United at a time where they've been at their worst. And you look at his all-time Premier League record as well. He's provided more assists than Sadio Mane in fewer games in the Premier League, more assists than Cristiano Ronaldo, more goals than Gareth Bale despite playing fewer games. His performance levels have never really dipped. He's incredibly durable. He's only ever missed 1 game through injury for Man United. And he's a leader too. And yes, he has cut a frustrated figure at times during the bigger matches. But I think his general level of performance this year can't really be faulted. I mean, there's only one player in Europe's top 5 leagues who's created more chances. And this is playing for a United side that are probably going to end up with one of their lowest ever Premier League points tallies.
Yeah, goodness me. There's been a lot of talk, hasn't there, about Erik ten Hag's future. And he claimed the comments after their FA Cup semi-final win over Coventry were a bit of a disgrace. How do you see it, and sort of how he is at the moment, his demeanour, kind of what he's saying? He's got a lot of pressure on him. Must be hard reading about this all the time as well.
Yeah, I do wonder if that pressure's getting to him a little bit. I was really surprised by those comments, really. I mean, you just had to look at the way that the Manchester United players celebrated after that shootout. I know Rasmus Højlund celebrated in front of the fans, but then he turned around and none of his teammates had followed him. I know Anthony kind of got the headlines for those strange antics at the Coventry players, but the rest of the United players were kind of just, I think, relieved to have won it. It wasn't the usual celebrations you see after a shootout. And it kind of follows a trend with Ten Hag this season. I think there's been some strange comments by him. Even after these bad performances and bad results, he's been saying, you know, trust the process, you can see we're improving. We've seen all those stats about the huge number of shots that Manchester United concede, and he just doesn't seem to think it's a problem. He says, you know, that they're low-quality chances, it doesn't matter. I don't know, there's a lot of pressure on Ten Hag. His job is obviously up in the air going into the summer, a big summer for Manchester United. I just wonder if that pressure's getting to him a little bit.
Yeah, big summer of change. We saw Jason Wilcox in attendance last night there. One of his remits is reportedly determining a playing style. How important is that for United now?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely vital. I mean, I think they do have a style of play. It's just one that most fans aren't particularly comfortable with. They want to become the best transition side in the world, but they're just not very good when the ball's coming back at them. They're not very good at tracking back in forward areas. Their midfielders allow far too much attempts on goal, and you know they've paid a price for it. They're 17th for expected goals conceded this year. They're 19th for shots conceded per game, and they want to play on the break and they want to be this counter-attacking side, but yet they've only scored 3 goals on their counter-attack all season. That's 7th in the Premier League. West Ham are topped by that with 9. So it feels like whatever Ten Hag is trying to build into this side, 2 years in, there has been injuries, but it feels like the message just hasn't got across.
Yeah.